Hey, welcome back to the Game Changers podcast. Just like every episode, I have an inspirational guest, and today I have Matilda Marie. Her story is truly inspirational. You're going to get a lot out of her story and what she's done in her life and her career. So excited to have you with me today, Matilda Marie. Welcome.
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So, Matilda Marie is a two-time renal transplant survivor, and that can't be emphasized enough. Two-time is significant. And so we're so glad that you're doing well.
Thank you.
Uh, Two-time renal transplant survivor who shares her story through her work as a professional makeup artist.
Mhm.
She offers a unique insight and guidance to others facing similar health circumstances who persevere to live a fulfilled life while doing what they love. Some of her work includes projects with local and national brands like Hulu, Netflix, Under Armour, and MSNBC. Those are very impressive.
Thank you.
She holds a Texas state license as an esthetician and hairstylist. Matilda Marie attends the University of Houston as an undergrad in the arts and humanities. Her volunteer hours include Dress for Success, other private sectors as an ambassador for the United Network for Organ Sharing, giving an insight to hope. Sustaining health while pursuing your dream is in reach with a core support group and unshakable faith, which I love that. What is Dress for Success?
Dress,
That's interesting. What is that?
Dress for Success is an organization that's been around over 50 years. What they do is dress women in suits for job interviews, and they
Okay.
teach how to build resumes, and I work in the area of how to present yourself for an interview. So, how to groom yourself, how to wear makeup to an interview, not so much perfume. So, it's just an organization that uplifts women and help them find sustainable work.
That's awesome. That is awesome. So, Matilda, tell us a little bit about yourself and your work as a makeup artist.
As a makeup artist, I love what I do. Love what I do. I've done it since I was in high school. It's something that I
Hmm.
love and I enjoy, and I also love watching TV and cinema. So I just took the love of TV and what I love is makeup, and I combined the two, and I decided to shoot for the stars and go for it.
So, when you were in high school and you
Mhm.
kind of got interested in this, what was it that told you, okay, this is something that I think I can really do for my career?
When I was in school, and I won't say when, but when I was in high school, when I was in high school, they had options for you to get a trade while you were in school. And cosmetology was a trade that you could actually graduate with your Texas license. And I
Okay.
went to the cosmetology teacher and I asked her, well, I said, well, I don't want to do hair. I just want to do makeup. And she said, well, you need to be an esthetician. And the rest is history. And I pursued my work as an esthetician, and I've been an esthetician for over a decade.
Okay. So, very impressive, but even more impressive than your work is how you got involved in movies and these national accounts like Hulu, Netflix, Under Armour, MSNBC. I mean, how did that all happen?
Well, my first job was with Under Armour, and
Right out of the
someone
gate.
right out of the gate, and someone didn't show up to work. And that person that couldn't make it to the job called me and said, I have a job in Austin. If you're available, I need you to cover for me. And covering that entire day of work elevated my jobs into more film. And so I studied more film makeup and the industry, and the rest is history.
So somebody didn't show up for work. You
Yes,
stepped in and boom, your
yes,
career took off. So lesson learned there, always show up for your job.
exactly. Showing up is half the battle. Half
Yeah.
the battle is just coming to work, because if not, someone else can flourish off that job. And I did.
Which you are. Yeah. So just out of curiosity, has that individual been able to recover from that or not
Not
in the,
really.
so again, great lesson learned. If you have a
Yes.
responsibility, you know,
Mhm.
adhere to it, get it done,
Yes.
show up.
Please. It's half the
Yeah.
battle. Hmm.
So tell us a little bit about what happened and how you've really overcome and been such an inspiration and success.
I received a kidney transplant in 2008, and it was because of an autoimmune disease that was just running rampant through my body, and the doctors could not get my disease under control.
And
And
did you know what was going on at the time? I mean, were you aware
yes
that,
and no, because
yeah.
I didn't have any symptoms. And so I was just going to the doctor every 6 months for a checkup. And
Hmm.
on this particular day, it was a normal checkup. I went to the doctor the next day. I got a phone call at work from my actual doctor saying, get to the hospital right now. You're in renal failure.
Whoa.
And
Okay.
it turned my world upside down, as you can imagine.
Yeah. Oh my
And I
goodness.
was on the transplant list for 2 years. I received my first kidney, but that kidney only operated it as 75%. So it wasn't a great match for me. I had problems with that kidney from day one.
Mm.
And I was in and out of the hospital for 4 years.
For 4 years.
Just dealing
Okay.
with the ramifications of the kidney just not functioning the way it should have been. But as fate would have it, I was in a horrible car accident 4 years after that kidney, and the kidney did not survive that trauma. So the kidney rejected,
Oh my
and
goodness.
I lost the kidney. And so I worked hard to get back on the transplant list, and I was on the transplant list for 9 years.
Oh my goodness.
And
So I
in
don't think people
2000,
understand
yes,
how hard it is
it's very
to
difficult.
get on the transplant list and then
Mhm.
actually receive a transplant. I knew somebody years ago who also had a kidney transplant and went through something similar with
Mhm.
regard to trying to get on the list. It took forever, and it is a arduous experience.
It is.
And you really do have to persevere. And your unshakable faith, I gotta believe, plays a huge part
Mhm.
in your perseverance and where you are today.
Mhm. And I just wanted to describe unshakable faith versus just having faith.
Hmm.
Unshakable faith is absolutely knowing it can happen because you've seen it before in your
Hmm.
own life. I I I knew I could get a kidney. I was the healthiest I could ever be. So
Hmm.
getting a kidney wasn't the problem because it had already happened in my life. I had already received one, and I understood that it could happen again. Now, the 9 year wait, that was the hard part because the first time I received a kidney, it happened in 2 years. So I'm
So why
thinking
why 9 years? Like, what was the issue?
because, okay, medically, the DNA from the first kidney was in my body.
Hmm.
So it's my original DNA plus the foreign DNA. And can you imagine trying to match my DNA with a new kidney to
Mm.
match both sectors of the DNA that's floating around in my
Okay.
veins? And
Okay.
so that was the hard part of matching me the second time.
Right.
And it's called your antibodies. So my antibodies from the first kidney was high. And so they had to wait until those antibodies were low enough in my blood system to match me to a new kidney. And it took 9 years.
So during that 9 year time frame, how did you persevere? I mean, what was every day like for you?
Every day, some days were great. I was on dialysis. I did it myself at home. So I was able to control my health in a way that I felt comfortable. And although it was 7 days a week, I was still able to work when I could. And
Yeah,
when I
so
wasn't,
let's talk about that for a second because we had that discussion before,
yes.
and you're saying like it's I just did it, and you did. I mean,
Hmm.
you did it every day, but
Hmm.
when you were describing it to me, I was like, what I mean, so tell
Right.
us what that meant every day, because the time frame and then your ability to get to work, and I mean, here we talked earlier about somebody who just didn't show up.
Hmm.
You're doing dialysis every day and you're going to work. So
Hmm.
just kind of describe that if you don't mind.
My thought process, because I had seen people die from what I was going through. I'd seen people give up on dialysis and not want to do it again. And I didn't want to give up on something I knew that I can control, which was my diet, which was my exercise. And I also didn't want to have any regrets about not trying. I said if I succumb to my disease, I at least want to die and say, I tried. I pursued my dream. It worked or it didn't work, but at least I gave it my 150%. And that was my thought process. I just wanted to give it everything that I had. I was giving everything to my health. Why not give everything to something that I loved?
Wow. Wow. So every day doing that though, I mean, just go through your schedule because that blew me away. And I think people need to understand,
Yes.
yes, you persevered. Yes, you had this unshakable faith, but what did that mean every day?
That meant every day from 7 a.m. to about 9:30 p.m. That was my free time because from 10 p.m. to 6 in the morning, I had to be, I had a bedtime. I had a bedtime every night between 9:30 and 10 o'clock to be on my machine for 7 to 8 hours so I could get up the next day and do it all over again. It just took planning. I just had to plan
Not
things out.
just, not
Yes,
just. There's it. I mean, there was a lot to that. I mean,
yes.
every day for 9 years.
Hmm. Hmm.
Wow.
And I traveled with my machine because the machine was probably the size of a VCR, a little bit bigger than a VCR, but I still
Okay.
had supplies that went along with the machine so I could travel with it. Um, I could call ahead and tell the dialysis company where I was going so they would send supplies, and all I had to carry was my machine. I had to get a letter from my doctor for
Mm.
TSA to say that this was a life saving medical device. I mean, you just have to prepare. You just have to, and they teach you all of this in the class. And
Hmm.
so I
Well, I
just
can see
prepared.
where some people would just be like, you know what? I'm done. I'm not,
Mhm.
you know,
Of course, most definitely. It's very difficult. And I
but
want to stress it's very difficult.
yeah, yeah. And what really just kind of blew me away when we talked for the first time was your incredibly positive attitude. And
Yes.
you're just like, yep, this is what it took. Yep, I did it. Yep, I'm living out my dream,
Yes.
just another day. And
Yes.
I'm like, wow, that is amazing.
Thank you.
So there had to have been some days in there that were really challenging.
Mhm.
What was that like, and what did you do to get through that?
Well, I cried a lot. I'm just gonna be honest. I cried a lot. But
Yeah,
I tell
well,
people
I
my
can't
tears,
imagine not.
right. My tears watered the seeds that I'm now living out. I cried a lot, but I had family and I had support. But I knew it would get better, although I felt helpless, not hopeless, but helpless sometimes
Hmm.
because I'm a young woman
Hmm.
and I wanted to be out with my friends and I wanted to be out with my family. I wanted to do all the things everyone else was doing, but I had limitations. But I also know that I had a dream and I put my dream and my health above everything.
You did.
Hmm.
And look at you today.
Thank
So
you.
how long has it been since you've had the new kidney?
September the 12th, 2022 is when I received my second kidney. So
Okay.
we're almost 2 years out.
Awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And so what do you have to do now to make sure that everything is going according to plan? I mean, I'm sure you have to check in with your,
Mhm.
regular appointments and so forth. And so what do you have to do?
Well, since I'm almost 2 years out, I'm I'll be back with my regular nephrologist because I'm still up under the transplant nephrologist, the transplant team.
Hmm.
And so they were just watching some of my labs because I was considered high risk, but my kidney is functioning at 98%.
Hey, all right.
And the doctors are like, your creatinine is lower than mine. And I have two kidneys. So I'm doing quite well.
Hmm.
I eat right and I exercise, and meditation and prayer and faith and my family. All the things that are good is what I prioritize.
So when you say eat right, we
Mhm.
all have some challenges with that,
Yes.
myself especially. So do you are you like a vegetarian,
No,
vegan?
no,
No, just
no.
uh,
I eat about 70% plant-based. I eat more vegetables than I do meat, but I do eat meat.
okay.
And recently I found out that with my disease, I don't tolerate gluten well. And
Hmm.
I've always thought that, but I had the doctors really do some extensive blood work, and we were right that the gluten is agitating my autoimmune disease. So I'm now
Hmm.
beginning to learn how to cut out gluten, bread, processed wheat, and that sort of thing. But I'm a fantastic cook.
I
So
would imagine.
so because the renal diet alone, which we don't talk about a lot as renal patients,
Hmm.
what you give up as a renal patient,
Yeah.
I want, when we finish or when you have time, Google the renal diet and you will understand how some people give up on dialysis. You can't have orange juice, you can't have potatoes, you can't have any high potassium rich foods, and we all love most things that are high in potassium.
Hmm.
So
Does ice cream fall into that list?
no, but dairy, a lot of dairy is a no-no. So
uh,
yeah, it's a hard diet. And because I do cook so well, I was able to navigate that part of my life quite well. Because I'm a foodie, I eat everything. So
hmm. It's
mhm,
awesome.
thank
So with your survival and your
you. Mhm,
success, and again, congratulations. It's not
thank
not
you.
anything to demean that you need to really be like really put up there on a pedestal almost because you of
Thank
your
you, Jeff.
success and inspiration. So
Thank you.
again, congratulations. Now, your work, you have to have had some cool stories, right?
Yes.
So share with us maybe one or two really interesting experiences, maybe successful, maybe not, whatever, but you had to have had in your line of work interesting experiences. So share a couple with us.
Okay. I did a documentary with Hulu. It's called Your Attention Please.
Your
And we were
attention,
on a
please.
farm.
Okay.
We had a 4 a.m. call that morning. So you can imagine what time I had to be on dialysis to reach work at 4 a.m. So I had to start
Whoa.
about
Yeah.
7 in the evening to be up and ready for work. So I did, although I had a bedtime at 9:30 and 10, but if I had an early call, that time had to be adjusted. So I
Hmm.
make it to work, I make it to the farm at 5 o'clock, and something told, and it's cold, it's about 40 degrees.
Hmm.
There's mud everywhere. Something just told me to bring two pair of boots. I don't know why, but it's, and I used both pair of boots. I had mud up to my ankles. I did makeup on the back of a truck for the talent.
Like
A
What do you
long
mean?
day.
Like a
Yes.
pickup truck
Like a
or?
pickup truck. Yes.
Whoa, okay. Then did you have
Yes.
to bring your own supplies or?
Yes. I had a makeup kit. I had a portable light. It was awful.
Wow.
It was awful. It was 40 degrees. And it doesn't get that cold in Houston, but we don't even own a coat most times as Houstonians. So 40-degree weather, 5 a.m. in the morning.
Unacceptable.
Yes, we made it through the day. It was a long day, but I enjoyed every bit of it. Now, in the midst of it, I was miserable. And people think this is a glamorous job. This job is not glamorous at all.
Oh, I and I got to imagine you work with some interesting personalities.
Yes. Yes. Everybody personalities do not coincide, but we have a bigger goal, which is the project to be done. So as long as we have keep that in mind, it works.
Yeah. So have
Yes.
you ever had worked with somebody that is just so difficult and you're like, man, just come on, just be
Yes.
nice.
Of course, but I keep a smile on my face and I stay positive, and I'm an esthetician, so I understand touch and massage. So it usually calms them down. And a little secret, I wear lavender oil on my wrists, so it automatically calms the person when I'm working with their skin and their makeup. So that's a little tip.
Wow.
Mhm.
Yeah. Cool. All right. So any exciting projects coming up for you?
I have some amazing projects coming up. I just did a documentary out of Paris, and I
Oh,
can't talk too much about it because I'm under an NDA.
okay.
And I also did a project with the local basketball team. I can't say as well because I'm under,
Okay.
but we all know who plays for Houston. So I'm under NDA as well. So I cannot
Okay.
wait to put that out on my socials and my website. It's going to be amazing. I'm so happy about it.
That's awesome. That
Thank
is
you.
so awesome. And so how do people learn about this work that you're doing and that's coming up? How do they learn more about Matilda Marie?
I do have a website. It's
Okay.
www.matildamarie.com. And I post a lot on my Instagram about things coming up, which is also Matilda Marie makeup. So
Okay.
my socials
Great.
are the best place.
So you see yourself 5 years from now, 10 years from now doing what, the same thing? Or what's the future look like for Matilda Marie?
The future, I'll say doing the same things, but at a bigger scale. I also want to start writing my story and maybe get a book out there
You should. You
and
absolutely should.
thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Someone recently told me I just should start writing a page a day. And I said, well, I like to be very organized. So I'll probably do an outline first.
I was going to say it depends on how you think through
Mhm,
how you want your book, but for people that are like I'm pretty structured and organized
mhm,
and I got to have things sort of in a flow chart. So when I'm getting ready to write a book, I have to have an outline of the chapters,
mhm,
and then I can sort of have an idea of what is going to go into each chapter. So then I know, I can start, maybe one page in the chapter, and then you can kind of skip around, but I have to have that sort of structure.
mhm,
But for some people, it's like just start writing.
mhm.
They don't need that structure,
Yeah.
which is okay. Everybody works
Yes.
differently.
Mhm.
But yeah, so I would encourage you to have that outline of what you want to include in the book overall, and then start within each section.
Thank
And
you.
it's going to be a great story. It is
Thank
going to
you.
be a great story for sure.
Because I have
So,
some great ones. Some
yeah, oh
very
my gosh.
detailed. Yeah.
And again, the 9 years every day, wow, amazing. So, in the spirit of game changers, who have been in your life those folks that have really been game changers for you?
The game changers were actually my medical team, which is very surprising when I say that to most people. I was with my nephrologist for about 23 years, and he recently retired. And I was one
Mm,
of his last patients. And I said, Doctor, it's okay. I'll be fine. You can retire, because he was my nephrologist during that first transplant, and he knew how young I was, and I needed
mm,
that type of support. And he introduced me to a network of people. One of my mentors now, she's a anesthesiologist, and she was young and she had lost her kidney. And he said, you two girls should meet, and we're still friends
mm.
today. So my medical team
That's
was
cool.
instrumental in helping me and supporting me through this. All of my dialysis nurses, because when you're working so close with your dialysis nurse, you become like family. And
Mm,
with my faith, and they knew how my faith was set up, and their faith as well. So us combining our faith and our like-mindedness, it just set me on a path where I knew that I would be okay. To have
mhm.
your medical team show their vulnerability and pray for you and let you know that it's going to be okay. That was the game changer for me,
Wow.
because some doctors weren't always kind, and
Yeah,
and
right.
that
They're just
happens. Hmm.
they're doing their job, and
Hmm. Hmm.
bedside manner sometimes kind
Yes,
of stays at the door. They don't,
right.
they're not as compassionate as what
Hmm.
you would want them to be.
And I've lived that experience a number of times. But to have my core medical team support me, my nutritionists support me, my nurse and doctors, and everyone support me in that way, it was a game changer. It
Mm,
really was.
yeah,
Hmm.
fantastic. So for some of the folks out there who may be going through some struggles and maybe something similar to what you experienced, what is your advice, and what would you suggest for those folks to help them get through?
What I want to say about their medical team is that your medical team works for you, basically. You can find a different doctor. If you don't feel, if something in your gut does not sit well with your medical team, find a new one, because that makes the difference. Your medical team is there to support you, not always spiritually. I think I just was blessed with that type of team, but you do have medical teams and doctors out there that really care about what's happening with you, but
Hmm.
you have to care as well. That's the difference. You have to care enough and listen enough about your own health to show your doctors and your medical team that you care. And that will change your health plan. It will change the way people see you when you come into your doctor's appointment. You have to care, and you have to listen and do what they say. Not only listen, but do the work as well.
Yeah. So be a good patient,
Yes,
client, and take your health seriously and
yes.
want to make a difference
Hmm.
in your own health.
Yes,
Yeah.
most
Good,
definitely.
good suggestion.
Thank you.
So let's transition a little bit to a fun question.
Okay.
This has been pretty serious topic, and I want to have a little bit of a lighthearted question here. So, if there were three people in history or currently living wherever, in anywhere in the world, three people where you could have a sit down, just a one-on-one conversation, who would those three people be and why?
Well, all the reasons are the same, but Walt Disney,
Okay.
Karen Johnson, also known as Whoopi Goldberg,
Okay.
and Fatima from MAC Cosmetics. She's a global makeup artist.
Okay.
And I put all three of these people in the same group because they share their creativity with the world. Walt Disney created something that we are still using today. And it's amazing how his dream has turned into a global empire,
Hmm.
just
Yeah.
because of his creativity.
Yeah.
People sometimes don't respect artists in that way.
Hmm.
But who else would make the world beautiful if it were not for artists?
Wow. With a vivid imagination,
Yes.
right? Yeah.
Whoopi Goldberg, she's a powerhouse, an EGOT winner. I
Hmm.
mean, you cannot get any higher than that in entertainment.
Yeah. And then the third one was Fatima.
Fatima, she's a pro Mac makeup artist.
Okay.
And I've just been watching her career over the years. And I've wherever she had a class, I took it. Whether it was in the Mac stores or on her Instagram line, I'm there because her artistry is sort of like mine, clean, simple, to the point, no frills, and it's just amazing.
Awesome. Very good. Well, Matilda Marie, thank you so much for being here and telling your story. It is an inspirational one for sure. And don't be a stranger. Come back and tell us how everything's going because, I truly believe your best is yet to come. You've
Thank
got
you.
a lot of things that you're going to be doing in the future, and we want to hear all about them.
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And again, for those people who want to learn more about you, it's matildamarie.com.
Hmm.
And then you're on Instagram at Matilda Marie as well. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Very good. Thank you again. And listeners, thanks for tuning in to Game Changers. I know you have a lot of podcast choices out there, and you selected Game Changers with Jeff Newkirk, and I couldn't be more grateful. Thank you so much. And click that review and leave a good review and download and follow and all that good stuff. We appreciate you. Today was a great day, and I know tomorrow is going to be even better. Peace, everyone.